Hi guys. So I wanted to do a kind of Q&A, I guess, about my gallstone surgery. And I asked for questions on Instagram and through Facebook. And I basically received the exact same question from everybody. And that was basically what the symptoms were. So I've had gallstones for a while now, at least 3 years, and they started out with me waking up kind of in the middle of the night one night, honestly feeling like I was having a heart attack. I was having like chest pains and, and the pain kind of radiated through my back and it all just kind of, it hurt so much. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't find a comfortable spot to be in, nothing. And I was honestly scared, and I was on the phone with telehealth to kind of go like, what is this? What could this possibly be? Because I was home alone. The kids were at their dad's, and they had to call me back because they were busy. But I was Googling kind of what a heart attack looks like for women, and it wasn't the same. So I was like, this can't be a heart attack, but I'm too young, all this kind of stuff. And by the time telehealth called me back, because you have the option to either stay on the line and wait, or they will call you back. So I opted for them to call me back, and I just tried to kind of manage the pain. And by the time they called me back that first time, I went through all my symptoms and told them all of that, and they suggested that I go to the ER or to my doctor first thing in the morning. And I said, you know what? I literally just found a comfortable spot to lie down. So I'm going to try to get some sleep, and then I'll call my doctor's office in the morning. So I was completely knackered for a couple days after that. But I did go in and see my doctor, and my doctor's like, I think it might be gallstones. So let me send you for an ultrasound to confirm, etc., etc. Went for the ultrasound. Yes, I had one gallstone, and it was rather large, although I can't remember now because it was 3 years ago as to how big it was. But basically like the gallstone itself gets lodged in where I don't even know what it's called. Basically the opening for the bile to go in and out of the gallbladder to be able to be processed. And so the pain is when it gets lodged. So they told me how to monitor it and how to manage it, and then it went away. It went dormant for a while, actually, probably 8 or 9 months. And then I had another attack, and at least this time I knew what it was. So I managed the pain through that night. It went away that morning or later that day. And again, same thing. I just called the doctor's office, let them know, and that was fine. So I think I've had about 4 or 5 attacks since the initial one. And from there, basically, I guess now it's 2 times ago, when I had another attack. It was just different that time. And I mean, I should mention that I think it was earlier last year I went to see a specialist about it, and his response was basically, well, if you were my cousin, I would tell you to kind of see if you can just manage it. You're not in a very good situation where you can go in for surgery and not be looking after your son, especially because he has autism, on your own. And if you can just kind of manage through, because it comes up every 5, 6, 7 months, then do you think you can handle that? I mean, if it gets much worse, then we can take it out, all this kind of stuff. But if you were my cousin, I would say leave it, because you're not a daily or a weekly or even a monthly person. So, okay, fine. that was fine, because especially when he said that it would take like 4 to 5 weeks or so to be able to fully recover, you know, like it just wasn't an option, right? Their dad, my kid's dad, can't take my son for 4 to 5 weeks. I mean, he'd lose his job. So I figured I just kind of had to manage through it. And so then 2 flare-ups ago, it was different this time. I woke up again in the middle of the night. That tends to be when it happens for me. But this time the pain was more concentrated kind of right across the mid of my back, almost where your bra strap is. And then the front where my gallbladder is was just solid. Like it just, yeah, it was almost like it was wood. It was so solid and the pain was so bad. And so I did the pain management stuff, but still that pain lasted about 6 days, specifically the back. So I went to my chiropractor and he relieved it a little bit. I obviously went to the doctor as well to kind of report what was going on. And they're like, you know, if it gets really, really bad, then go straight to the ER and they'll probably take it out. So it ended up going away. I was tired for kind of the usual 2 days afterwards. And then this last time was now 2 Mondays ago that again, I woke up early in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh, there it is again. But oh, this is really, really bad. And literally, like, I'm trying to move, but I can't stay still. I'm just in so much pain. And my kids were home too, so I was trying to be quiet while I was in pain. That is not easy to do. Just FYI. Don't bother trying it. I've already done it. You don't need to try it now. I've done the experiment. We're good. So here I am, like, trying to get through the pain, trying to manage something, trying to get downstairs to take the meds for it, all this kind of stuff, without waking specifically my son up when it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and that tends to be when he starts stirring. So unfortunately, he woke up. So here I am trying to manage the pain while my son is up, while I'm trying to feed him breakfast, all this kind of stuff. And so by the time my daughter woke up, I was literally like lying on the floor in the kitchen, asking her, like walking her through how to do the morning routine for the kids, because I couldn't do it. And by then I already realized that it was time to go to the hospital, because I had actually taken the pain meds that I had that's specific for gallbladder pain, and they hadn't worked. Nothing had worked. So I knew this time was different. So I got the kids off to school and I basically called a cab and went straight to the hospital. And basically they, you know, prodded and poked me, and I was very careful to not try to kill the doctor that was prodding and poking me. And very quickly, well, not very quickly, it took about an hour for me to actually get in to get a bed. But in that hour, like, I was pacing up and down the hallway. I had cold sweats. They had started with the pain at 3 o'clock in the morning. Actually, by the time I had gone to the hospital, I was in my third outfit of the morning, and that was 9 o'clock, because basically I had sweated through everything. And yet I was freezing, and yet if I put a blanket on me, I was overheating. And so that was a symptom that I had also never had before. You know, the meds for the gallbladder, the Buscopan, had always worked up until then. But it hadn't worked that morning. I had the hot and cold, the fever, the chills, the just constant sweating, everything. So I was still doing that in the hospital wait room in the ER, waiting for a bed. And my poor boyfriend has never actually seen a flare-up. And then he sees my worst one. So before I went to the hospital, anyway, I don't know once I was at the hospital, but before I went, I was literally gray. I looked at myself in the mirror at one point and my face was gray. There were no freckles, no, nothing like that. It was just gray. And that was basically, once I saw that, was when I knew that it was not even call the doctor. It was just get the kids out of the house, get them to school, and then go to emergency. So once I was in there and I got settled into a bed, they pumped me full of some antibiotics, of pain meds, some antifungal as well, but I don't know what that was for, whatever. And then I was probably in a bed by about 10:30 in the morning, I think, somewhere 10:30, 11 maybe. And then I actually had the ultrasound about 4 o'clock. And I mean, you could see, like I could see exactly what was going on with the ultrasound. So it was very obvious I had at least 3 stones now, and the one of them was lodged right up the tube kind of thing that where the bile goes, basically. So it was completely lodged and was not going anywhere. So then we had to wait for a surgical consult. And that took till about 9 o'clock or so, and then the surgical consult happened, and she basically went, yep, you're going in for surgery within the next hour. So I went in, I was prepped in the OR about 10:30 at night, and then I was out, and I woke up at about 3 o'clock or so in the morning again, made a joke about how this all started 24 hours prior. Went to the washroom. Well, it actually took a while for me to get out of bed because I couldn't move. The incisions just were too painful, and the pain meds hadn't kicked in from post-surgery. So anyway, so the whole thing happened within kind of 24 hours of itself. One of the other questions that I had was, what happened with your children? My daughter went with my boyfriend because she actually doesn't go to her dad's very much anymore. So she felt more comfortable being at my boyfriend's house rather than going to her dad's. But my boyfriend actually corresponded with their dad, and their dad was able to take my son for a few days. Sorry, my alarm went off. I have to go get the kids from school, but I'm just quickly going to finish this. There was a little bit of back and forth between my boyfriend and my ex-husband, so the kid's dad, about logistics of stuff, and I think also my ex-husband's understanding that this was actually a big deal, that I wasn't just being checked in the hospital and I would be released, that I was actually going into surgery. So but once he understood that, he was really great, and he took my son for a few days and dealt with drop-offs and pickups and everything from the school until Wednesday. He had a meeting Wednesday after school, so my son came home for a couple hours, and then he picked him up from here. So, but by then I was already home, like by Tuesday morning. I mean, my surgery was Monday night overnight, and I was home Tuesday morning by like 9:30. So anyways, I guess there's the questions that I've basically been asked about my surgery. If this causes any more questions, feel free to ask them below. I'll either answer them down there, or if I get repeat questions like I did before, I may do another video if you guys aren't bored of all of this yet. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and like the video down below as well, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.